Hi, I'm Manny Fitzsimmons. I'm your Washington REALTORS Hotline lawyer, and today's video is the first in a series entitled Dangerous Business Practices in a Seller's Market. And I am so grateful to be joined in this series by my friend
Paul Blumenstetter, designated broker owner of RE/MAX Integrity. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. So in this video series, we are going to start with the first two videos by focusing on dangerous practices we're seeing from listing brokers specifically, and in the second video, dangerous practices we're seeing from buyer brokers specifically. And then in the videos that follow, we are going to address specific issues that are arising in this very competitive seller's market and the risks that those specific practices include. So, Paul,
yes,
let's get started talking about some dangerous practices we're seeing from listing brokers. And if it's okay, I want to start.
Okay.
I recently saw a video posted on social media by a listing broker. She's not a Realtor member. Posted by a listing broker, literally bragging that she had lied to a buyer's broker about having multiple offers when she didn't, and through that lie was able to increase the seller's the ultimate purchase price of the property $25,000 over the list price. That was an effort by a listing broker to secure a business, and it was a blatant and direct violation of the Washington agency law. Recall that one of your duties under the agency law is to exercise honesty and good faith to all parties in the transaction during your provision of real estate brokerage services. Clearly, that broker deceived the buyer in that transaction, and her actions were a violation of Washington law. What are you seeing, Paul?
We're seeing a lot of listing broker activities that are bad business practices, and I think probably one of the most obvious of all of them is offer instructions that I see on listings, many listings. I see hundreds of them all the time, and the danger that exists with offer instructions is in the way they're prepared, and the fact that they are. It's hard to determine if those are broker instructions or whether those are actually seller instructions.
So, Paul, let me interrupt you for a second. When you say offer instructions, are you talking? Sometimes I see them. I see all different kinds of titles, but things like suggestions for writing a winning offer or tips to a buyer's broker, but their document, a piece of paper, a page that's attached, uploaded to the MLS printout, making suggestions or, as you say, instructions to the buyer broker as the buyer broker prepares the buyer's offer. Is that what you're talking about?
That's precisely what I'm talking about. And I look at a lot of these offer instructions and I see them used by listing brokers as a tool to basically filter the offers that they're getting from buyers so that they can be more, more generic or even vanilla to where the terms are relatively the same. And so basically listing brokers got really price is the only variable that may make a change in it.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Paul, let me interrupt you one more time. And as we go through this video series, we're going to talk about some of those specific issues that brokers are including in those offer instructions. That's your understanding, right?
Yes.
Okay. But I want to follow up on something or interrupt you with something that you just said, because when I have read these instructions, I very often see language embedded in them that says, these are suggestions only, all offers will be presented. But you just said that the instructions are used, in reality, they're used as a filter. What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, number one, I see no evidence of sellers ever signing an offer instruction sheet. I look at hundreds of them over the course of the months, and I can't remember ever seeing a seller's signature or seller's acknowledgement of the offer instruction. So I don't even think the seller's aware that the offer instructions are attached to their listings. And the idea is that the broker, listing broker, is using those instructions to try to get all the offers to be as close to the same as possible with the same terms and conditions, and so that they can do a better job of just being able to sort out which ones are better than the others. And typically the only term left is price.
So when you say that that they're used as a filter, are you suggesting that listing brokers are actually, let's say that a listing broker receives 15 offers, if 8 of those offers don't conform to the to the offer instructions attached to the MLS printout, does the listing broker not present those offers?
Unfortunately, I think that happens a lot more than anybody wants to accept or realize. You think about it this way: a listing broker gets 15 offers on a property, and after they have looked at the offers, they're going to decide what's the 2 or 3 best offers, and those are the ones they're going to show the seller. And they're going to tell the seller something along the lines of, "We got 15 offers on your property. These 3 are the best. Take a look at them and see which one you want to look at."
Listing brokers, if you're doing that, that is an issue for which the Department of Licensing has and will discipline brokers. That's one of the top issues for which the Department of Licensing disciplines listing brokers. And it is a failure to timely present all written offers. If you do nothing more than provide the offer to the seller, even if you don't go into great detail explaining it, it is your obligation to timely present all written offers to the seller. And the word present in the agency law is not defined, as is not the word timely defined. So you have to use the facts of your own scenario to define both the word timely and the word present, but let's focus right now on what it means to present. If you, as Paul just described, walk through the details of 2 or 3 offers, and that's how you present those offers, then that's how you're required to present all of the offers. Listing brokers, it is never up to you to decide which offers may be acceptable to seller. Now, you might pick a bright line offer term, like maybe the purchase price, and say, seller, you got 15 offers, 10 of them are at list price or above, 5 of them are below, and the seller might say, well, then let's look at those first 10 first. Which ones close first? I want to see the fastest closing dates. Okay, then you can narrow down that way.
Well, let me interrupt you for a second, because you're using the word timely a lot. And here's the other problem and issue with listing brokers and offers, especially if they have a review date, like most listings do these days, where the seller will review all offers on X date. The listing brokers are holding on to those offers, and then they're giving them to the seller all at the same time, which is on that date. What should really be happening is, when we review date or not, what should be happening is the offers come in. You get 3 offers on Tuesday. Those 3 offers should be presented to the seller. You get 3 offers on Wednesday. The seller should get those 3 offers. And on Thursday, they get 6 offers. And
okay, so wait a minute then. I'm sorry, I don't understand that. If the seller says, and we need to talk about whether the seller says this or not, but if the listing printout says all offers will be reviewed at 5 o'clock on Friday, then how does it make sense that the listing broker is sending offers over? Isn't that when they email the offer over to the seller, aren't they presenting the offer prior to the review date?
No, they're not doing that at all. What they're doing is acknowledging to the seller that an offer has been received. Here it is. We'll go over the offer together on the review date, as we promised we would, but you have a right to see the offers when they're presented to me, and I'm forwarding them on to you so that you can look at them in advance. But that's not what's happening. The listing brokers are collecting all the offers, and the 15 that come in over a period of 3 or 4 days are all presented to the seller at the same time. And that's really not presenting offers as you receive them.
Okay, or what you said a few minutes ago is maybe they're not even all presented to the seller.
Exactly, because the listing broker is taking the 15 offers, and based on the terms of those offers, are deciding themselves which is the 2, 3, or 4 best ones. And those are ones they're going to focus on when they actually meet with the seller.
Okay, so let's establish our first bright line rule then.
Okay.
Listing brokers, you have no discretion in which offers are presented to the seller. You have an unavoidable agency law duty to present all written offers. And as Paul described, that duty includes a component of timeliness. You have a duty to present all written offers timely. And I had not thought of what Paul just said previously, but I agree with him that if there's an established review date, that would be when you sit down with the seller and you review all the offers that have come in. Paul's suggestion is right, though. If you have a review date on Friday and you receive offers on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, You should, at a minimum, be forwarding those offers over to the seller. Seller might have questions about them. Seller might want to talk to a lawyer about them. That might give them time. At a minimum, though, what it does is it helps seller understand and appreciate the fact that they have more than a simple up or down acceptance of a single offer on Friday. They have to evaluate competing terms, and it will begin to get them into the process of deciding, how am I going to evaluate terms, what am I looking for, and what's important to me.
The seller may also, when they receive one of the offers, say the first one or two that they received, they may say, I love this offer so much, I want to take this one. And they instruct their listing broker to start negotiating with that offer and not wait for the review date.
Okay, so I think that presents a lot of problems for listing brokers and buyer brokers, and that's a frustration that I hear. So talk to me from a designated broker's perspective. How do you handle that situation? You're one of your brokers is a listing broker, and they've said because seller told them. Now, actually, let's take a side tangent here. If you're going to have a review date of Friday at 5 p.m., whose idea should it be that you have a review date of Friday at 5 p.m. versus reviewing offers as they come in?
What happens with review date is the listing broker wants to have a review date where they can collect offers, and it sounds good to the seller, so the seller says, that's fine, we'll wait till Friday and review all the offers. But the problem with it is that sometimes an offer comes in that's very good on Monday, and the listing or the seller is saying, I don't want to wait, this is a fantastic offer, I want to go now.
Okay, wait a minute. I still want to run down this rabbit hole a little farther.
Okay.
You're still at the listing appointment. Seller has agreed to list with you,
Yes,
signs
correct.
a listing agreement. You suggest to the seller, let's review all offers on Friday at 5 p.m.
Correct.
How do you, as the listing broker, document your file to verify that it was the seller who wanted the Friday 5 p.m. review date rather than the listing broker?
Well, the easiest way to do that is the seller initials the list MLS input sheet that has that box checked with the review date on it. And that's the easiest way to document it.
Okay. Important for the listing broker to make sure that they identify that to the seller so the seller understands what's happening?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now then, I'm sorry, go back to what you were talking about where you're in that scenario, the listing printout says Friday 5 p.m. review date, and you get a really solid offer on Tuesday at noon. What do you as a listing broker do? How do you counsel your seller?
The listing broker can't dictate to the seller when they want to review offers or accept offers. They can sit there and address in the MLS that I want to review offers on Friday, but ultimately it's the seller's choice whether they want to accept an offer on Monday or whether they want to wait till Friday or not. And I think that's one of the reasons why listing brokers by and large don't send the offers over to the seller upon receipt, but they wait and collect them together and bring them all over on Friday for review. And up until Friday, when they do that, the seller is totally unaware of the terms of any of the offers. They may or may not know they got 15 to look at, but beyond that, they have no idea what the offers say.
Including, do you ever see offers in that same scenario where the seller has established a 5 p.m. Friday review date, do you ever see offers that come in that expire prior to Friday at 5 p.m.?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, that's a tool that a lot of buyer brokers use, is they put a close expiration date on it so that they're forcing the seller to respond to their offer. But can they if the listing broker doesn't show the seller the offer?
Yeah. So is it possible to make a timely presentation of an offer after the offer has expired?
Yes. The fundamental problem is the review date, which I've never been a fan of, because the preview date basically encourages listing brokers to collect offers instead of presenting them when they receive them.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a step further and say it's not possible, with one exception. It's not possible to comply with the agency law if you hold an offer until after it has expired and then present it after it's expired. And the only exception to that is if the seller is incapable of receiving that offer. If the seller was in a car accident and they're in a coma in the hospital, or they have paid a lot of money to go on a submarine to see the Titanic and they are 10,000 leagues under the sea, maybe those are circumstances where the seller cannot receive an offer. Absent circumstances like that, listing brokers, I don't think you can comply with the agency law if you intentionally withhold an offer from presentation until after that offer is expired. Because you would those actions fly in the face of your agency law duty to timely present all written offers and other written communications.
Well, think of it this way: if the listing broker is holding on to the offer and they realize it has expired, let's say it expired on Wednesday, and Friday they present the offer to the sellers, and the seller says, "Oh, I love that offer. I want to take that one." He calls the buyer broker back, and the buyer broker says, "Sorry, we found another house on Thursday." How's it going to make the listing broker look when they let the choice buyer that the seller wanted get away?
Really good point. Okay, I want to wrap up this video with a final really bright line rule, but before we do that, Paul, what does that, we have a listing broker whose seller has said on Wednesday, I want to accept an offer, and we have a review date of Friday at 5 p.m. Boots on the ground, listing broker, what do you say to seller regarding the Friday 5 p.m. review date? What do you say to the other buyer brokers who are out there?
The problem with the review date, what you would be saying to the seller is, I'll collect all the offers. It gives the buyer broker time to get their offers in. So rather than curtailing the buyer broker's ability to get offers in on time, it gives the buyer a few extra days to put all their offers together. So it works to the advantage of a seller by allowing buyer brokers the opportunity and the time to get the offers into them.
Okay, but no, here's what I'm trying to get at. We've said that we're going to have a Friday 5 p.m. review date, but seller said on Wednesday, I want to accept this offer. Would you suggest to that seller, there could be other buyers out there who want to make an offer. We had a Friday 5 p.m. review date. There could be other buyers who maybe they haven't even seen the property yet because they know that offers aren't going to be reviewed until 5 p.m. There are other buyers who have seen it. Do you want me to call those buyers? Do you do something like that?
That happens all the time, because buyer brokers, when they see that you're reviewing offers on Friday, they have this fixation that they don't want to present the offer until Friday because they don't want the seller to use their offer against another offer. So they intentionally hold back their offer until Friday when they can present it to the seller by honoring that review date. That's another problem with the review date, is that it works sometimes to the disadvantage of the buyer as well as the seller. But once the seller commits to a review date, that's exactly what you need to be saying to the seller. You know, if you wait and hold off till the review date, more offers may come in, because some of those buyer brokers may be out there holding on to their offer, waiting to present them on Friday on the date you requested. Yeah,
and ultimately, Paul is exactly right. This is always the seller's decision. So listing brokers, when in this scenario you say, seller, I understand you want to accept this offer at noon on Wednesday. I want you to also know that there could be other offers coming in. They could be from buyers who haven't even seen the property, knowing that we weren't going to review offers until Friday. Maybe they didn't feel a time pressure to come see the property, and so their schedule allows them to visit on Thursday, and they were going to write an offer on Friday. There could be buyers, seller, that you're not ever even going to hear from. Or there could be buyers who've already viewed the property who might be waiting to write offers. Seller, do you want me to reach out and contact any of those buyer brokers? Do you want me to do anything to put other buyers on notice that you've changed your mind about accepting this offer? And it's always the seller's call. The seller might say, look, I've got a really great offer in front of me, bird in hand kind of a thing. I don't want to rock the boat. I just want to accept this offer. Then fine, you accept the offer. And then as a listing broker, how do you mend fences with all those other buyer brokers out there who thought you were waiting for a review time? Do you reach out to them and let them know that this was the seller's decision?
Well, that's part of the problem with the review dates, is when the review date isn't honored, it's always the listing broker that's the bad guy because you didn't wait.
Yeah. So we're going to spend a lot more time in this video series talking about some of the specific issues that listing brokers include in the offer instructions, whatever you might call those. In this video, we've highlighted a few things that are important for listing brokers to remember, and the biggest, brightest line rule that I want you to leave this video understanding or remembering is that listing brokers, no action that you take on behalf of the seller is your decision to take. Every action you take, every representation you make, every advertising effort, every marketing strategy is the seller's choice. And so if you are going to have an offer review date that's other than the moment the offer arrives, make sure you've explained that concept to the seller and that the seller understands the pros and the cons of it. Paul has pointed out a lot of cons associated with that. Make sure the seller understands those. Make sure the seller signs off on that review date. If you're going to have offer instructions associated with your listing, make sure the seller has signed the offer instructions so that it is clear that the offer instructions establish seller's priorities in the transaction, not listing broker's priorities in the transaction. It's always the seller's discretion. It's always the seller's decision. Your job as a listing broker to protect both yourself and your firm is to make sure that your firm folder, your transaction folder, is documented with evidence that it is the seller's decision, that you have properly advised the seller, and something we're going to talk more about in the videos that come, that you have advised the seller to seek the advice of an expert in areas that exceed the scope of your expertise. And that's going to be the case with almost every instruction that brokers include in these offer instructions. Anything else, bright line rule we want listing brokers to take away from this video?
I think we covered it.
Okay. All right. If you have questions on anything we've talked about in this video or anything else associated with Washington real estate law, send an email to me, legalhotline@warealtor.org. Thank you for being a Washington Realtors member.